Hi everyone, my name is Michelle and I'm Mama Loves UGB here on FlossTube, but also on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. It is Easter Sunday, so I hope you are all enjoying a lovely Easter Sunday, whatever it is that you are doing with that. If it's just spending it with family and friends, going to church, whatever, Easter egg hunts, I hope you're all having a fabulous time. But obviously with a little bit of stitching in as well. I've got a few things to show you today and I've got a few things to talk to you about. I've got a finish, I've got a new start, I've got some retreat information to talk to you about, and towards the end I'm going to go through a few UK FlossTubers. Now I was on Facebook today and somebody had commented on one of the groups that I'm in about UK FlossTubers and which were the ones that people had recommended. And it ended up being a really big long list of FlossTubers from the UK. So towards the end of the video I'm going to share some of that list, but then down below I'm going to put the full list that came from that Facebook group, because there's some on there that are new to me and I've got a new FlossTuber even to mention straight away. So let me get the information. Cakes and Stitches, Keely. I watched her first FlossTube this week. She's a new British FlossTuber. Really good. Loved her first video. She got lots of great projects, lots of good things in the pipeline, and I would really recommend that you go and check her out. There's been so many new ones really since I last spoke about UK FlossTubers. So as I said, towards the end I'll give a little run through of a few of my regular watches, but I'll put a big long list down below in the comments box so that you can check out a few more. And certainly that is my plan this week, is to just hone in on some UK FlossTubers that I may have missed, not seen for a while, just refresh the playlist a little bit. Okay, so the buttons are all posted. They all went in the post on the 28th of February. No, not February, that was last month, March, 28th of March, as was mentioned in the Etsy listing. And the lovely lady, I've got to give Sally a shout out at the post office. I took the big boxes in and she is just processing them all for me. I don't have to stand there and wait, I just drop them off and she is processing them all for me. So very soon you will be getting yours. Just a quick note for those of you who ordered 4 buttons, and I think there was 3 people that ordered 4 buttons, all from the US. I've had to send them in 2 sets of 2, so you're going to get 2 packages, because I tried to put them all 4 in one package and I seem to have flipped over into the next realm of the post office that requires some kind of pumpkin carriage and 6 white horses for the price. It was astronomical, so I sent them in 2 batches of 2. So if you ordered 4 buttons, look out for those. And I'm hoping to do another run of buttons either in May to coincide with the May half term, or in July. And my plan is to do perhaps a smaller run, because little old me and my mum, she helped me out greatly, but handwriting all the labels, handwriting all the customs labels, it really did take us a hot minute. So I will be doing more, but I'll be doing smaller runs so that I can just get through them in a couple of days rather than having to spend a few days on them. I did some revision classes at the beginning of the week, so I went into school even though we're on holiday and just got the A-level bunch started on a bit of revision, hopefully give them a bit of confidence to carry on. Other than that, it has just rained. It has just rained. Tomorrow, well, today for you guys watching, we lose an hour, which I'm quite excited about, because that to me is an hour less of rain. Although my car decided that last week was when the clocks went forward, because I was driving to school on the Monday morning and I said I'd meet the students there at 10, and I was a good half an hour away and it still said that it was quarter to 10 in my car, and I was like, it can't be quarter to 10. It can't be. Even to the point where I had to stop the car, look at my phone said quarter to 9, and I still had to ask Alexa on my phone because I didn't know which was right, the car or the phone. And I was like, no, my car's just, I think my car went with the American time change, because I think that happened last week. Anyway, that's a lot of waffle. That is a lot of waffle. So I'm going to show you some projects. As I said, I've got to finish. it's neither of the two finishes that I was really close to last week because I haven't touched them. Go figure. Right, let's have a look and see what I've got. So I have done a little bit of work on my Santa of the Forest by Lavender and Lace. Now it does look a whole lot better when it's ironed, but I've finished the cloak on this side and I put in a little bit more of the cloak up there, and I think that was about it. So I did a little bit on that, but it's looking beautiful. I love this. Love, love, love. I have also done just a very small amount on my All Things Grow with Love stitch along by Historical Sample Company, which they kindly gifted to me. And we're on to part 3, and I've, in my usual style, not finished part 1, started part 2, but I haven't started part 3 yet. And this time I'm really pleased to say that they put all 3 parts, or there was certainly an option to download all 3 parts together, so I haven't had to try and match that damn bird up again. If you remember my sort of small rant from a couple of weeks ago about trying to match up the bird. So this is on a piece of 32 count that I coffee and tea dyed. It was the plain white that came in the kit, and I just coffee and tea dyed it. I've had to start so far up because if you remember me saying when I coffee and tea dyed it, I left it to dry on the radiator, even though I know better than that, and I got some marks, so I've had to start right at the top now. I've got a very bright light on today, so it's blowing out a little bit, but I'm really enjoying this and looking forward to making it into a project bag. I think a project bag. Right, my new start is this Elizabeth Walsh's work by the Scarlet House. I fancied something which just had a little bit of smalls. I'm quite into making the smalls, and then the main piece isn't that big. So what does it say? The mat is 166 by 119, the needle book is 54 by 52, and the fob is just 22 by 22. And I love this kind of Welsh blanket design. So I've started this on a piece of Spinifex by Fox and Rabbit, which was a fabric of the month from December. And just to know, if you get the Fox and Rabbit fabric of the month, I've had the notification to say that the package has landed. So it should be with me probably Tuesday, I should think. So I should be getting that in the post very quickly. And all I've done is I've started on the fob, and I've nearly finished the fob. So the fob is just literally one of those little squares at the bottom there. So there we go. And these are the colours. So what have we got? We've got hazelnut, black coffee, sage, sanguine, dirt road, cherry cobbler, probably my most favourite red, Tennessee red clay, and who have we got here? Putty and Garrison green. There we go. And they're on my little ring with my little Charles Darwin there. Shocker alert, if anybody wants to know, I have a Charles Darwin tattoo on my back. There we go. So really enjoyed starting that. That took about 10 minutes, 20 minutes max. So you never know. I might have that finished for next week, at least the fob, and maybe even the pin, the needles and pins book, or I might just do what I did last time and not pick anything up. So what is it that I finished? What have I finished? It's not stitching. Well, it's sewing, but it's not stitching. I had showed you that I bought this kit from the NEC. So this is from House of Zandra, and it's a sewing pattern for Heirloom Harvey. Now, I picked up this with the kit and I've changed him up slightly. I don't have the glasses, I might get the glasses, but I changed him up slightly and I've given him a red coat. And I'm busy turning him into a haberdasher. I've actually finished him to all intents and purposes, although I do need to sew 2 more buttons onto his coat. So, I've never made anything like this before. So, are you ready? Here he is. Look at him. Isn't he fab? And he's got movable legs and movable arms. I did the button finishing on there. I had to go and buy myself a big doll needle, one of those big ones that you can shove all the way through. And so let me give you a close up. So this is his little face. Isn't he cute? And I made his top hat and I've put a little bit of inch ribbon around the outside. And I've made a tiny little tomato pin cushion just to go on his hat. And then here's his little coat, and as I said, I've just realised I need to put another button on there, but I might do something slightly different and I'll show you that in a minute. And there's his trousers and the back of his coat, all blanket stitched. So I started this on Tuesday. I cut this out on Tuesday evening, so you can tell that I've been a little bit obsessed with him. Unfortunately, felt and Dalmatian hairs are the most attractive things on the planet to one another. So there he is. Now, I said I wanted to turn him into a haberdasher. So he's got some little black glass head pins in his lapel there. And I'm just in the process, whoops, of making him. Now, this is going to be too long at the moment, but I left it long rather than cut it down. Of making him a little bag. So I did some sort of slow stitching to give it a kind of basket weave finish, and I liked it a little bit wayward, and I've just made like a little pouch like that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some of those little tiny cotton reels for making that we put on the top of pins. I'm going to put some of those in his little bag and make some little mini DMC skeins, and then I'm going to sew a pair of scissors hanging from here as well, a little pair of either like a little charm pair or maybe even a little tiny pair. So the idea is that there he is, and he's going to be, whoops, carrying, as I said, it's too long at the moment, I need to make it shorter. There we go, let's give him in all his glory. Oops. Just stick that in the back there. That's the thing about, I've been using him as a bit of a pin cushion all week as well. So there he is with his little bag. I'll tidy all that up, and then I'll fill his little bag with haberdashery items. So he's now, instead of being Heirloom Harvey, he's Haberdasher Harvey. So just the sort of little chap that you would hope everybody would come and visit, bringing lots of haberdashery. I'm really, really pleased with him. I've never made anything like this before. So I followed the instructions, cut out all the pieces. The instructions were really good. The only one that I would say was a bit difficult were the trousers, because it says something about sew C to D. There's no D on it. There's a letter missing on the trousers, but I worked it out after a little while. It wasn't that hard. But everything else I have been absolutely fine with. And he's stuffed with kapok, which I had just had a big box of it, and I thought I just need to use this stuff. So I've stuffed him so he's quite firmly stuffed, but he's not very heavy. So this is my little Harvey the haberdasher. See if I can get a picture with him for my screenshot. I never get screenshots. I do look pale today. I think it's the lighting. So there we go. That was my finish, apart from the extra bit that I've decided to add. So I'll probably show him again next week because he will be totally finished then. Right. Now I have got Stitch in London news. So for those of you who are perhaps a little bit unfamiliar, let's go back to the start. Stitch in London was started by Marie, who is Stitches and Diamonds. That's her website, and it's also her YouTube channel, and also on Instagram. So a lot of you will know Marie anyway. And 2 years ago, maybe a little bit more, this will be the third one coming up, she started a retreat down in Watford in London called Stitch in London. And I went on the very first year, and I went back the second year. And then this year we've added the sampler edition, which was what we did in February. And Marie has just launched the Stitch in London, the usual one that happens in October. Now, this year is going to be a little bit different. There are actually going to be 2 weekend dates for Stitch in London. In previous years, there's only been one. The room holds about 80 people. And we've had, or she's had, I can't claim anything for this one, she's had sort of 80 people in the room, plus a wait list the last couple of years. So what she's decided to do this time is offer 2 weekends, but just cut the number of people slightly down on each weekend. So everyone's got just a little bit more space, which I think is a really, really good idea. So the 2 weekends are October from the 4th to the 6th, because the stitching room opens on the Friday night. Maybe Friday afternoon, I can't remember what time. So the 4th to the 6th, and then the second weekend is the 12th and 13th. So it must be the 11th, 12th and 13th. It's that Friday to Sunday anyway. I'm going the second weekend. I've already booked my spot for the second weekend, and they are going live. I think they went live yesterday, so they went live on Saturday. So if anybody wants to go, I can highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's a super, super friendly retreat. Everybody who's been says it's really, really friendly. Everyone just chats and gets on. It's not like the sampler edition one where we've had like specific lectures and things like that. She's really, really super conscious of things like cost, trying to give people the maximum value for money. So she's taken the decision this time that there will not be a retreat kit as such, because sometimes you go to a retreat and you like the kit and sometimes you don't like the kit. And the people who go to Stitch in London are such a massively diverse group of stitchers. You've got people like me who love stitching on samplers as well as other things. You've got people who are sort of full coverage. You've got people who like 40 count, 46 count. You've got people who like 28 count. Every possible sort of scenario to do with stitching is Stitch in London, and that is one of the strengths of it. So there's not going to be a retreat kit as such, but there is going to be, I believe, the option to purchase closer to the date specific kits, and there may be more than one on offer. So therefore you're not paying for something that you're not really going to ever stitch, which I thought was a really good idea. So go and find out more information about it. You can book and then pay in instalments. You can pay all in one go. You can book 1 night's accommodation, 2 nights accommodation. You're free to then book your own accommodation nearby if you want to, or if you live close by, you go home, come back again the next morning. There's so much flexibility about what you can do with food as well. Obviously you're really, really close to Watford. It's literally a 2-3 minute walk, so you can go to the local Sainsbury's and get a sandwich if you want. You can go, we found this amazing Lebanese kitchen, which is literally the first thing. There's a little group of us now, and the first thing we mention is, right, when are we going to the Lebanese kitchen? This little street food market just up the way, and we've been there the last few times and it's amazing. So Lebanese kitchen all the way for me. So definitely go and find out about those. Right, freebie. I've got a freebie to show you, and it's this one. It's called Fanny Love. Now, if you remember, I have this thing about building a Fanny wall. I've got several samplers, old samplers that are done by girls called Fanny. I've got several ones which are reproductions that I need to do. One day I'll get there. Now, let me explain to you about this freebie. Now, I found it through Ellen Chester. Now, Ellen Chester is, you've got Stitchers and then you've got Ellen. Ellen is amazing. She runs a company called With Thy Needle. I always get it mixed up. With My Needle? With Thy Needle. With Thy Needle. Yeah, With Thy Needle. Which does beautiful, beautiful charts. And she has recommended this one. And it's by a lady called Kathleen Finn. And you can find it on Pinterest. Now, normally we steer massively clear of Pinterest because there's so much on there that is totally just ripped off. But the lady who designed this or reproduced it, Kathleen Finn, has put this on her own Pinterest. And Ellen has said that she's stitched it. She's happy that there's no detriment, that Kathleen has put it there on her own Pinterest to share. So that's where that one's come from. Okay, so I'll put all the information for that down below. I also want to say a massive thank you to another Ellen, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour Ellen, who has sent me the September's Revenge chart that I was mentioning last week. After I showed you her new ones, she messaged me and she said, oh, I'll pop you September's Revenge on an email as soon as I get back. She's out on tour at the moment, or doing some gigs. So she did, and I've printed it out all but the first 2 pages because they were the last 2 pages to come through, and our printer, that's it, no more paper. And of course it's Easter Sunday tomorrow, there's no shops are open, and not that I'm that desperate for printer paper, but I didn't have it to hold because I didn't have the first 2 pages. There we go. Right, FlossTubers then. Again, I have made some comprehensive notes. These are some of the ladies that I watch, and they are all ladies. I know there's loads more, and there's loads more on the list that I have watched, that I do watch. So these, I'm just going to go through a few. So I've mentioned Cakes and Stitches, who is Keely, who has also just done her, she's just done her first one. And I mentioned two new FlossTubers to you last week, or the week before. One is Sarah, who is Cross Stitch Sarah. And there was another lady called Lauren, who makes beautiful little needle minders, and her name is going out of my head at the minute. Because I've got one there. I've got one in my room. I'm looking at it now. I'm going to put it along the bottom. But she's on to her second one. Really, really good. Really good. Love watching it, although can't remember the name of it. Welcome to a 44-year-old brain. Teresa Little Stitcher, who most of you will know and love. She's got a huge following. Really, really great videos. Does a lot of sort of Stitch with Me videos. More full coverage than me. Does quite a lot of the fancy ladies as well, but all beautiful stitching. Ellie Weller Stitcher, Talking Dog Stitcher, Alba Stitcher, Sew Me Sarah, Flossie Sews and Grows, Floss Abilities, Lynn the Lancashire Stitcher, who I watched today, and she's getting her operation that she's had to have is healing up really, really nicely. So sending you all the love, Lynn. Just so set, I can't even say it now. You're gonna have to change it, Sherry. Just so Sherry. So yeah, Sherry, are you going to come to Stitch in London this weekend? Are you going to avoid me, or are you going to come and see me again? If you want to find out what that's about, go and see Sherry's latest FlossTube, where she regales the story of where she literally flashed her pants at me. Now, in that story, she says that she had leggings on. I don't think she did. No. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Sherry. So yeah, but as I said, I'm going to put a whole big list of UK FlossTubers down below. So let's make April the month of the UK FlossTuber. Let's see how many people we can get into UK FlossTube, because we've got a lot. We've got a lot of FlossTubers. We've got a lot of really, really good things going on. And cross stitch in the UK is on the rise. I know it's huge in America now, but we are definitely pushing. So yeah, can't wait to share some of those with you. But as I said, down below, whoops, there's going to be an even bigger list. Right, that's it from me. I am off to eat some chocolate. Can't wait. I'll see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.